Hi guys, it's Ryan Carruthers here from Betgreen. I've got a video blog post today on lay the draw trading and whether it's still profitable or not. Because I know that it's one of those strategies that a lot of people, it's their go-to many years ago, and I think probably everybody has had a go at lay the draw. And it's a cracking strategy, it still is. So over the course of this video post, I'm going to talk about what is lay the draw, how people have traded it and the exits that they've done, what I've done and what I've changed with it, and then is it still profitable? And just before I start this video, yes, it still is profitable for those of you who won't watch all the videos. So firstly, what is lay the draw? Well, lay the draw was a strategy that pretty much everybody has done on Betfair. You know, you would find a football game where you don't think there's going to be a draw. Usually there's a heavy favourite, and people had loads of different ways of picking it, and you would lay the draw and it'd usually be below sort of 6.0. A goal would go in and that would jump up massively. And then you would back the draw. So you had laid the draw, then you backed the draw, you traded that game and you got a profit guaranteed over that. And people used to trade that a lot. And because of that, it did get a bit tougher. The odds jumps when goals happened wouldn't be so great. There was also more people doing it. And it just genuinely got harder. And people just carried on doing it. People have still used it. The exits on they varied. So you would usually exit when the favourite scored first, and you would take your profit. And as more and more people did that, the margins of that got smaller and it got harder to find the right games. You would potentially take your stop loss if it was around 2.0, which usually happened between 65 and 70 minutes. So you had quite a big portion of that game to get those goals in. You'd also some people would take a loss or a small loss or a small scratch if the away scored or the dog scored first. So it was 0-1 or 1-0 to the dog, whichever way it was. And those were the exits. Some people would be totally risky and just lay the draw and leave it to run out, which has never been my preferred way. Now, I'm going to talk about what's changed now. I still trade lay the draw. I think it's an incredible strategy and way to make money on Betfair. But what has changed for me is the evolvement of stats. I've got a stats software package which I can really get access to, and I can start to find out who scored first, how many goals were scored in the first half on average, the time of the goals. Now I'm looking at things and I'm trying to find reasons not to trade a game, so that when I do find a game where there's no reasons not to trade that, I'm able to find that game and place a lay the draw on that. So it might be, for example, a team there's lots of goals in the first half, teams are scoring freely, they're on good form, they're at home, all these kinds of things, they help make up the picture. And that's what's changed for me over the years. And Betgreen has been laying the draw for 6 years now, and every single year is profitable, and I evolve with that. So I'm constantly tweaking my process, I'm constantly back checking everything and working on the best data that I can. So for me, it's stats and building up that picture and assessing those games and trying to find the value trades, the ones that not everybody is looking at. So your Man United versus Burnley, for example, that everybody's looking at. Yes, I might trade that, but I would prefer to trade another game. And if the stats suggested that was a good trade, I would do that, definitely. But I'm also looking at everything else and the stats as a whole and taking some of the team names out of it and just looking specifically at the stats and then building a picture from there. So that's what's changed for me, guys. The stats, you can get so granular now with your detail that you can find out a hell of a lot of information which aid your trades. And that's one of the things that I do at Betgreen. I send out these heavily researched trades every single day. But you guys can do this. You can delve into the stats and you can start to look and build up pictures of games. And it's often when people say to me about they don't know how to find a strategy, for me, it comes down to the stats. It comes down to the stats. If you're taking a football match in play, then you've got to know and build up a picture of what you think is going to be happening in that game. So if you can see when you think the goals are going to come and where they're going to come from, so Sergio Aguero playing because he scores goals for Man City, yes, okay, great. Now, I know that their goals come after 20 minutes. Sergio Aguero's on the pitch. You can watch that game. You've got the stats. You've got a plan. I'll do another video on a trading plan as well and how you can build one of those. So, back to lay the draw. Is it still profitable? Yes, completely. At Betgreen, we've been profitable for 6 years on lay the draw now, and it's still something that I do in my own trading. It's really great. I love the way it works. You can really move with it, but like everything with trading, I don't trade the same way that I did 8 years ago. I just don't do it because we have to evolve. The markets evolve, technology evolves, everything evolves, so you have to evolve with them. So now I do have some games that are heavily researched where I will get in from the start. I will lay the draw because I think this goal's coming, and then I'll take my profit or my stop loss on those games. But also now I have evolved into looking at games and planning them out on my trading plan and then checking them at half time. Because I've got stats, when I'm looking for some of these lay the draw games, some of them look like they aren't going to be a draw, but the goals don't come until the second half. So what I'm now able to do is note those down on my trading plan and then at half time check those. So if they're 0-0 or 1-1, then I can look at the stats to back up what I'm thinking. So if it's 1-1 and then I've got stats on the average amount of goals in that game are 3, then it looks like that might be another goal in that game. So that might be a good lay the draw. But then what I do is I take that in play and then I see what's happening in play with shots on target, corners, all the kind of things that lead to goals. And that's what I do. And so I've evolved with Betfair. So yes, lay the draw is still profitable from the beginning and at half time, getting in the middle of the half. It all comes down to the stats and building up a picture of that game and what you think is going to happen. And then pairing that with stats and in-play action. So guys, as I said, my name is Ryan from Betgreen. If anyone wants to get these selections sent to them daily, I have a membership. It is £20 a month and I will send you selections every single day that fit my criteria for lay the draw. I will also send you emails with the goal list on, so that'll be games with percentages of goals and you can see them and they're broken down into both teams to score, over 2.5, over 0.5 goals for the second half. There's loads of data on there to help you with your trading. And also I have a cool new addition which is 0-0 half time compared to 0-0 at full time. So that is a spreadsheet which I send out to you every day with the day's games on and then the percentage of games historically over the last sort of 20-25 games for those teams that have been 0-0 at half time, and then we compare that to 0-0 at full time, and then on that as well is the average second half goals. So you can do some pretty cool things there, and some of the members are doing great things. So you can get all of that at betgreen.co.uk if you're watching this on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, hit subscribe, not sure where it is, and you'll be notified of all my upcoming videos, etc. So thank you very much guys. This has been a video on lay the draw.